New at 4:30, Tupelo police identify a person of interest in a Sunday night shooting that left a teen hurt. The shooting happened in the 500 block of North Spring Street before 11 last night. Police say a young man is in stable condition after they found him with a gunshot wound outside the home. They aren't releasing any more information about the shooting because of the ages of those involved. Now, if you know anything that can help them solve this case, call Crime Stoppers of Northeast Mississippi. That number is 1-800-773 TIPS, 1-800-773-8477. Remember, they only need your information and not your name.